I think the way that my family has been a support system for my success is that they've always led by example. So they don't just talk the talk, they actually walk the walk. Everything that they've ever asked me to do and every principle that they've ever asked me to live by, they embody that. Even though I'm the big sister, my brother inspires me all the time. He's never quit anything. I remember as a young girl, my dad would be like, once you start something, you don't quit. And there's certainly times that was frustrating because I would start things and be like, I really don't like this at all. But it's allowed me to really carry that with me. And then most of all, just to pick God first and to pray before everything. They put God first. They always direct me back to my faith. And so I think that's the biggest ways that they've inspired me.
My family has always been my foundation. And to me, they've been the gold standards in terms of support. Growing up and learning just how different family infrastructures work, I realized how much of a blessing it is to have parents that I can call at any moment's notice, a sister that's always been a trailblazer and led the way for me, and being able to have people in my life that I can always go to, that have been through things, that have gone through different life experiences and can always benefit me. So after seeing that and being a part of that, I always know that not only are they strong and they are the people that I can rely on and people that have always been an inspiration to me, but also they are a God-given and a God-driven family, and the love is always the foundation.
I would say, first let's pray about it, discuss, and whatever you need to succeed, if you think you need it, anything external, you'll have it. Whatever we have to do to get you what you need to succeed, you'll have it.
Trust in God, trust in each other, encouraging each other, and I'm never giving up.
I think the first and foremost is it was one house under God. And being able to have that as a context really defined everything that I do, because you always knew how to be on a team and have something that is bigger than yourself, that is your guiding principle. Having my parents being in a godly home and just being ones that understood how to operate within a team, how to operate within a greater purpose, a greater scheme, made servant leadership kind of second nature. And working with other people, being able to put your needs last for the betterment of others. So when your dad's in the military and he brings that context home, it kind of sets the standard for the whole family. And then with mom being a teacher and everything being for the betterment of education, once again, it sets the standard for my sister and I. So being able to have that, as an initial foundation really drove us to understand what servant leadership is all about. Not only that, but just being able to be second to something, and that being God first, family coming, and then being able to drive home our greater purpose of what we want to do.
Put God first in everything. Let your, faith in God lead you and guide you. Don't make any moves without praying about it first. Second would be to be a person of integrity. Your word should mean something. If nothing else, I can trust that my parents, my brother, they'll keep their word more than anybody I know. And so I've definitely tried to live by that as well. Because if people can't take you for your word, then really what can they trust? And then I would say the third thing would be to lead with compassion. I'm definitely being in the medical field, and certainly after working this year during COVID, it can get monotonous and tiring. The days can be really long, but I think always take it back to why you're doing this. Always put other people first. I remember a few years ago, my dad got really sick and he was in the hospital, and for the first time, we were really on the other side of things. Instead of being the caretakers, we were the family, and he was the patient. And I remember talking to the doctor that was taking care of him and saying at one point, I know he's just one of hundreds of patients that you see and take care of, but he's the only dad that I have. Thankfully she thanked me for reminding her of that. But I also use it for myself to remind me that every person that I come into contact with, it may be a moment in my day, but it could be something really big in theirs. And so just to always lead with compassion. I think, certainly there's that saying, treat people the way you would want to be treated. But I think even better, I like treat people the way that they would want to be treated, and value people for what they bring and for who they are.
This one is something that is not only developed in marriage, it's also been underlying in my whole childhood. So what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And being able to hear my wife say that over and over again goes back to something that my mom and dad have told me since day one. If you had to answer to somebody at the end of the day, and now it's my kids, it's my wife, but my dad always used me and my sister as an example. What would you say to them? Will the decisions that you make reflect well when you ask them at the end of the day? It's like, hey, what about Jessica? What about Chris? What about Moses? What about Madison? What about Ralph getting out of the way? So all these different examples for me were guiding principles. These are ways that I had to live my life because these are things that I always thought in the back of my head. And it really resonated well with sports too, because you're in a situation where a camera is always on you. You're in a situation where the eye in the sky never lies. And so when you make decisions, they should be in the betterment of the people around you. They should be for the greater kingdom of God, and they should be for what your family needs and what things are going to drive home at the end of the day. Once you start something, you always finish it. And this is just a principle that always seemed to be relevant in any different scenario. So whether it be picking up an instrument for the first time and thinking like, oh man, I'm going to be playing like in a jazz band, but you really got a viola, and the viola and the cello are two different things. But in your mind, you're like, this is the coolest one, and you picked out the wrong one because you didn't know the difference between the names. Well, you come home and you talk to dad, and it's like, hey, when you started it, you got to finish it. So now, you got to be a world-renowned viola player or just suck it up until it's over. But I'm thankful for that principle, because that principle allowed me to move and navigate in ways that I didn't know what quit means. I didn't know what stopping short means. And it's something as simple as, finishing out the day or finishing out what you picked up now gravitates into becoming a physician. When times get difficult, what was that guiding principle that's always in the back of my head? Once you start, you finish. And it's been prevalent in all of my family members and what we do. So that is, I think if he had a choice, he would probably say making your bed would be top choice. But I would definitely start that and not finish it because I was going to jump in the bed again later. But as far as like being able to navigate into a professional career, this is one that has definitely driven me in everything that I do. In the context of finishing what you start, I had my dad to look to in the military. When you think of having to go to Iraq or having to go to Kuwait or having to go to Honduras and these different things that he had to endure, knowing, and I could see it in his face, that he didn't want to do it, but he did it. He did it because he started it, and he did it because of what he meant to our family. And so not only hearing like these are the principles that are in place, but this is how it's lived out. And then seeing my mom finished her master's degree, and then with everything that she has to do in school in terms of paperwork, never ever slowing down. Like till this day, you can go and find her bag probably in the car right now, and she has paperwork that she's going to do. And she's going to finish because that's her principle. That's what she does. And then looking at my sister as an example, and my sister having people that initially she started out when she was in nursing school and going through her medical career, and people that were in charge of her as her superiors that now have to report to her. And why? Because she started something and she saw it all the way through until finished. And in doing that, surpassing the people that are her workers and superiors. So, I mean, just having that as a principle, once again, it just defines everything that I've done. And being able to see it in real time has just made it so real for me.
So the aspect of my family that I am most proud of is certainly their faith. I have seen every single person in my family go through really hard times that could break somebody and cause them to, question their faith or ask God why. But their faith has been steady and strong in everything. And that's really helped me when I've gone through hard times to really see that lived out as an example. And every single time I go to one of them, they always lead me back to that. So I would say I'm most proud of their faith. I can, trust my family more than anyone in the world. I'm so thankful for them and so proud of them. I know everybody says that they're, for the most part, that their family are, they're kind, nice people, but my parents, my brother, they truly are the kindest, most selfless people.
What I'm most proud about my family is the love that we share and the stories that make us who we are. So being able to understand that in any given situation, when I talk to my family on a daily basis, my sister, my dad, anybody within our unit, and given a situation that they would probably make this similar or same decision that I would. And it's really just because of how we think. And that in itself has given us strength. Being able to know that my parents, my sister, my family now, my wife, my kids, that we all have that similar bond of what drives us, what we hold important, what's vitally critical to what we need to do every day. And at the end of the day, what are we thinking in terms of what our legacy is going to be from here moving forward? Those stories, as I hear them about my dad growing up, or what my mom liked when she was a kid, or things that I remember me and my sister get into an argument about, that's something that I'll always cherish. And it's one of the things that once again makes me the most proud of my family, because it defines us. And those stories and that love are things that we share and give to anyone that interacts with us, and they feel the love of our family. And as we drive that forward for other people to share and enjoy and embrace. So that's not only the only thing that I love about my family, it's one of the things that makes me who I am. And I'm excited to be able to share that with the people around.
The thing I'm most proud of is that each of us, and especially my children, have a personal relationship with God. That's the biggest thing. And then do your best. Never quit. I think Chris referenced that. But once you start something, finish it. And do your best. Don't be afraid of hard work.
I would say our faith, our leadership, our love, and our determination to be the best that we can be and keep striving forward.
We're here to serve. We're here to serve God, and in that effect, serve people. So what good is a life without service? Be a good friend, and you'll have a good friend. And sacrifice. Be willing to step out for someone else, pull someone else up. People will disappoint you sometimes, but if you keep reaching out, you'll feel better, you'll do better, you'll see God work in your life. This whole journey is about other people and doing the right thing. You can be the happiest man in the world and not have a dime, and you could be the richest man in the world and be so unhappy. So I think serving God through serving people.
I like to think of love, faith, and hope for tomorrow. And as Lenny said, we always told them never quit. If you start something, you need to try to finish it to the end. Even if you have battles up and down, but just continue and use the love, the faith, and the hope to move forward.
Someone that made a difference in other people's lives. That's what I hope to do. You know, I see them every day strive to do, and so I hope that's the legacy that I can leave.
One of love, one of embrace, one of understanding, one of patience, one of kind, one of godly given principles that my parents have passed down to me and that my sister has helped me grow into as well, as a mentor, as a friend, as my blood. So being able to have these things in and around you at all times, and what I'll give to my kids, this is what I'll give to my wife. These are the guiding principles of love that I'm able to grow with. I'm able to build a family. I'm able to build a legacy of love, affection, and kindness. I'm able to give that to my patients. And at the end of the day, just thinking of, I am who I am because of the environment that I was brought up in. You know, I have nothing but thanks for that. And what also I have to give, except for my word being bond, it's that love, that same love and affection that my parents gave to me. It's that same patience. It's that same being able to navigate around difficult situations and understanding and how to give oneself without exhausting oneself at all times. And that's why I wanted to be a physician, is to be able to distribute that in a way that, once again, leaves that lasting legacy that changes people's lives. And I'm so proud to be able to do that, because those are the shoulders that I am blessed to stand on. And that'll be the legacy that I am able to leave because of the sacrifices my parents and my family have made for me.